I am Brad Keelor. He is Rozbeh Moghaddam. Coming up next on Director's Cut, for the first time ever, we're going to talk about The Office.
A new turd is the vastness, hollow vacuum, chop the oxygen tanks.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Director's Cut. My name is Brad Keelor. I'm the director of the Geo-Institute, and that is why we call this show Director's Cut. Every single week, I sit down with a different Geo-Institute member who has stories to tell. Some of them are personal, some are professional, but 100% are fun. If you don't know anything about the Geo-Institute, I always question why you would be here if you don't, but just in case, after you watch this interview today, head over to geoinstitute.org, and there you will find out perhaps a multitude of things about us, including that we are a technical society with about 12,000 members, most of whom are geotechnical engineers and or geologists, and that we are part of the American Society of Civil Engineers. If you like what you see today, and I feel like you're going to want to stick around. We got some good stuff. You should click like, subscribe, get notifications, and yeah, we'll let you know every time we post something to the YouTube channel. Coming to us from Austin, Texas, before the big storm, which they're going to have and we're going to have here in the Washington, D.C. area, we have two job titles this week. Professor of Practice at the University of Texas at Austin, but also President, CEO, boss, guy in charge of RBM Industries, Inc. It is Rozbeh Moghaddam. Rozbeh, welcome. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Brad. Happy to be here, and I appreciate y'all considering me.
One very important thing that I forgot that we will talk about later, you are also the 2026 Kapp Award winner, and we will get to that at some point during the interview as well. So in case, viewers, you needed extra ammo to want to stick around, there it is. We've got 10 questions, the same way that we do every week. 2 of them are the same ones that we ask every single guest. We start with one of those. Describe your job in 45 seconds.
Well, just making it very quick in 45 seconds because the job is very extended, but I typically run the day-to-day operations at RBM Industries, and I perform most of the challenging technical aspects. We are focused on deep foundations design, excavation design, and retaining structures. And on top of that, we do a lot of forensic services at RBM Industries. Plus that, Professor of Practice at University of Texas at Austin. I teach the CE375, which is earth slopes and retaining structures, and which basically relates directly to what we do in the industry. So I try to convey the experience from work to classroom and share it with the students.
I am excited that we have somebody, because we're going to ask that research or practice question in a minute, and you've got responses to both. It's great. So thanks for detailing both of those.
Sure.
I always say that the reason that the legions of viewers line up to watch Director's Cut every week is the fun questions. We have to get to one of those to start out with. Rozbeh, what's your worst dining or eating habit?
Well, according to my wife, I eat too fast. So every time I'm out for a business or academic or research dinner, I try to keep in mind very clearly Christina telling me, don't eat fast. We're out here to enjoy the moment. So that's a bad habit.
So I got to ask you, though, as someone who maybe has the same issue, what strategies do you use to slow yourself down? Well, mine, I try to talk more because I'm like, that'll keep me from just tearing it up. And that's the biggie, I guess. What about you?
Well, I try to ask questions that has lengthier answers, as you said, similar strategy to listen more, but at the same time, combine that with the smaller bites. So if I'm having a steak, I cut it to the very small size so it lasts longer.
But see, the long answers question, that hasn't worked for me, because while the other person's talking, I'm right back to it. So I've got to be engaged, I think. So the next person to sit next to me at a dinner, you just start hitting me with questions, so I have to answer them, I guess. And maybe if you're next to Rozbeh, you need to do the same thing.
Yes. I'm going to try it next time and let you know how it goes.
The third question, as I mentioned right at the top, is always the research practice question. And I am excited because you've got, normally I put this in the list, okay, just for everybody out there. Here's a little inside dirt. And people either choose, I will talk about a research thing, or I will talk about a practice thing. Let's start maybe with your research one, Rozbeh. You've got a TxDOT project that you're working on with UTSA right now.
Correct.
Tell us what's happening, and then after that, we'll get to the practice thing.
Perfect. So when I was at Texas Tech University working on my doctoral studies, or my research particularly focused on the Texas cone penetrometer and its practice in Texas. And the main focus was to calibrate the resistance factors for a design, deep foundation design using the TCP. Years after, actually 2025, UTSA got awarded with a TCP-related project, and I was invited to be part of it as the industry advisory panel, and use my research data from the previous research and help UTSA to get the data needed and also the analyses, including statistics, for a new calibration approach to the Texas cone penetrometer. And we've done the first year, and they got one more year to go on this research. But it's going to contribute significantly to the deep foundation design in the state of Texas in particular, and perhaps to those states that they use the Texas cone penetrometer for the design.
Oh, that's fantastic. So now for the practice one, I'm going to think like a Texan here, and I'm going to say we're going to go abroad because it's outside the state of Texas that this project happened in.
Yeah.
You're going to tell us about a Georgia Pacific water treatment plant that was in Alabama, I believe.
Yes.
So let's hear that tale.
Well, it was a 36-inch diameter pipe that needed to be replaced at about 38 feet deep from the ground surface. This was connecting a sump, about 30 feet by 30 feet sump, to a 280 feet diameter clarifier, or what they call it, the clarifying tank. So the design of the temporary retention system to get down the 38 feet to replace this 36-inch pipe was quite challenging because we needed to provide a solution with the minimum cross bracing possible, with the stiffer wall possible, and within a very, very narrow and challenging footprint, because there were above ground utilities. There were very narrow spot to put the sheet piles. The solution came up with sheet piles and cross bracings. We had to put the sheet piles, get to the bottom where the pipe was. Then there was a crew working from inside the clarifier tank towards our side to replacing that pipe. So we did not have enough room to create a perfect box, like a sheet pile box. So we had to have a cantilever combined with cross bracing, combined with connection to the clarifier tank on one side and the sump box on the other. So we had a structural with concrete expertise, a structural with the steel design, a geostructural to design the retaining wall as well as the bracings. So it was a very successful project, and there are very good and nice, interesting photos coming up. And we perhaps have it in our booth at the ASCE in Salt Lake. We will have some pictures of that.
a little teaser there for the viewers. That's excellent.
We were very proud. We have an engineering intern. He was one of my students at UT Austin, and he started his graduate studies, but he works part-time for us with the potential full-time in the future. But he did a great job doing some of that sheet pile design and modeling. We have some junior engineers in San Antonio where they went to the site. They took survey readings, monitoring readings. So we were very proud of that job. And the contractor was extremely happy, and they were very, very basically collaborative with us. Any information we needed, they provided, and any support we needed. So very, very good project. Very proud of it.
So I guess for the follow-up, I'll ask what's maybe more of a systems question. Because you talked about how it was a little bit interdisciplinary, the crew that you had on site, like any good engineering project, right?
Yes.
I guess the media or the world will often say that engineers are not the most creative people. I think you just have different parameters to work within, right? You have to stay within you got health and safety, and you got to make sure your solution works. Like, you don't want it to fail. Was that the first solution that you guys came up with on this project, or were there other things that you came up with that didn't work along the way?
Well, the project took some time to get to an execution point. It did have some solutions provided to us from other potential bidders that they had, proposed some other conventional systems or major excavations that involved the disruption of some of those above ground utilities. What we did, it was kind of a design build. We did not have a good geotechnical data, and the treatment plant couldn't continue operations without that 36-inch pipe being replaced. Therefore, we decided not to go in the route of having a boring done next to the tank. We used previous borings around, and we made it kind of a design build project. As we did propose sheet piles from a get-go because we knew it going to work, and we adjusted our bracings as the contractor excavated. One of the aspects was this 36-inch was not the only leak that it was there. So it was other minor pipes leaking. So the water accumulating behind the sheet pile was not always known. So you would cut one day, and the next day you would come in, and the first phase of excavation was filled with water. Where the water came from, we realized that it was an older pipe there that had a leak as well. So we turned it to a kind of a design build, and we were at the service of the contractor as they needed. Like, if they had a problem during excavations, we had an on-site engineer, and I was constant communication to solve the problem. So I would say it was a combination of both. We did study the initial proposed solutions we thought was not the best. And during our solution, we thought the best thing was working on a day-to-day with the contractor to make that project a success.
Perfect. And yes, a little more incentive for people to come check it out at your booth at Geo-Congress, which is coming up. If everybody's paying attention, it's pretty soon. This is what we teased at the beginning of the show. It's not going to be as direct as everybody thinks. The question is, what TV show had too short of a run or ended too soon, in your opinion?
Well, I am not a big TV person to follow much of the shows. Two major shows that I did follow at its time was Parks and Rec and The Office. Primarily, I would say The Office. I did watch Dr. House back in the day, House MD, but none of those three, in my opinion, ended too soon. I think it ended too late because it got extended. However, I truly enjoyed it was much better back in the day because you watch it every Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and you were just intrigued to wait until the week after to watch it, would binge watch it. But I truly enjoy those shows.
seasons 3 through maybe 6 of The Office. I feel like that was maybe the high point. I want to ask you, because this is what we teased at the beginning. We got to have a little bit of Office talk here.
Okay.
First, I guess, give us your favorite character on the show, and then maybe your most underrated character in the Office series.
I think Dwight Schrute will be my favorite character, and I think Dwight Schrute was most underrated as well.
Wow. That's pretty good, going with it for both. You really can't go wrong with Dwight, I guess.
Yeah.
I think and now that I ask you that question, I realize the implication is that I must have a favorite and a most underrated too. And I'm really struggling here. I always enjoy Creed just because of how weird he is. And most underrated, I might actually go Daryl on this one.
Daryl.
Just what I like about it so much is, well, it was two things. One, and this goes back to something we talked about before the interview. While I was watching most of The Office, I was working in an embassy. That is not normal. It is so far from the normal office experience. I think I really craved that kind of atmosphere. I never really had that. And so it was cool to see it from far away. And that drew me in. And I think the unexpected, we've all had that experience, I think, where you work with somebody for years and you don't really know that much about them. And then you find out they were on Jeopardy 8 years before, or just some crazy fact that makes you look at them differently. And I think that's why I really enjoyed the show as much as I did. You got to give us your Parks and Rec one now too, or you can pick a favorite episode of The Office. Maybe that's what we'll do. Favorite all-time episode of The Office.
I think if I have to pick one, all of them were good, but I think the episode, it's season 2, episode 6, if I have to call. It's the one that Michael Scott goes through the depression, and he wants to test the trampoline from the top of and he throws a watermelon and jumps up. Then obviously blames it on Dwight, and then it's on the Stanley's car. So
I just watched the other day the business trip to Winnipeg, and I think that's one of my favorites. I'm just gonna go with that one for right now.
That's fantastic with the concierge person. Yes, I remember that.
I had something in my head with this next question that we were going to get an answer that was going to prove a stereotype that I've had for a long time. And that is, up north, people park near the door so they can get into wherever they're going as quickly as they can. And down south, people park in the shade because it's hot and they don't want their car to get hot. Rozbeh, I'm so excited that you've got a different answer for this one. When you enter a big parking lot, where do you park?
Well, I don't often go to the store. My wife is a stay-home, and she, bless her heart, takes care of everything at home. But when I go, typically with her and Riley, or 2-year-old daughter, we try to park the farthest place possible, so we encourage myself to walk a little bit, but also it's always fun to walk towards a grocery store or any of the department stores, because you get to sometimes people watch, or get people coming in, coming out, what they have bought. Sometimes if we're in a hurry, we just park the first spot, but majority of times we park the farthest better from that point. And my wife doesn't complain about it, so that has been good.
And there's no restriction, there's no distance limit on that. I mean, I think about, we've got a Target parking lot here that's got to be a solid quarter mile from one end to the other. Would you consider that you'd park in the farthest spot and walk the whole way?
No.
I like that. You got to know your limits.
Exactly.
The other question that we ask everybody when they come on Director's Cut is to tell their history with ASCE and GI. It's our 30th anniversary, and it's going to be ASCE's 175th soon. So we're thinking about this stuff a lot. Rozbeh, how did you first get involved with ASCE and GI?
Well, I was fresh out of college in 2003, and I got a position with a company in Miami, Florida, and they had me involved with the local chapter, the ASCE Miami-Dade County. And I believe the very first event that I volunteered to organize was an event that it was sponsored by my employer at that time, Bro Veritas North America, French company. And we had Bank Fellenius with Mohammed Hussein of a GRL. And we organized a geotechnical 2-day seminar with a gathering. And that was my very first involvement with ASCE local chapter. And then from that point on, I've been involved since then.
Oh, that's perfect. I mean,
but very fun, very fun.
I guess when you think about your involvement with local activities, we have people who only really get involved with national stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we have people who are only involved with local stuff. And it's very rare that we have somebody who kind of does both. What was your favorite thing about being involved with the local groups, or what is your favorite thing about being involved with the local groups?
Well, currently, I am not very active local with the Texas chapter. I support them extremely, but I don't, because of the travel commitments, I don't attend all the meetings at all time. But it gives you, but I've been both national and local involvement. It gives you a very good perspective of some of the very interesting and extremely experienced practitioners that we missed during the national, and encouraging them to come to the national event and consider to share the papers or a case study. That has been very, very good for me. And also vice versa. When I go to the national, I run across some very interesting academic research and practitioners, where also I encourage them to consider an invitation from our chapter to come in and do a presentation for them and share their experiences with us.
So this is always the point where we make our plea to the viewers to get involved somehow. And this is perfect this week because in just a few weeks, it's the beginning of our spring regional conference season. Always kicks off with Geo Omaha in... Anybody want to guess where it is? It's in Omaha. And then we have one like every 10 days, maybe even more frequently than that, until the end of May, which is when the New York City chapter has their annual event. If you are so inclined to go to one of these regional conferences, there's probably one pretty close to where you live. You can find the information on geoinstitute.org. Then, I mean, we would be remiss if we didn't remind people that Geo-Congress is coming up the second week of March, and you can get all the info that you need on that at geocongress.org, and we would love to see you in Salt Lake City. We've got 4 questions left in the interview. This one I had no choice to put in here. You know, when I do my homework, I always look where the people went to school. And usually it's to see if we can have a sports discussion or maybe talk about a geo legend who attended that place. Rozbeh, you've got an MBA. There aren't a whole lot of people who have been on Director's Cut that have MBAs. Why did you do it? What pushed you to want to get an MBA?
Well, I had a business before I get my MBA, and there was 2 reasons for the MBA. Number one, I learned all the ups and downs of the finance, accounting, day-to-day operations through a business, not necessarily school first and business. And after that, I sold the business, or I went through the process of selling the business. And I realized that there is a lot of little details that I learned through that process that could benefit me in the future if I ever start another business or I continue with the private industry. Number two, I got my MBA from the Eastern New Mexico University. And the only reason I went there is because that was my birthplace in Portales, New Mexico, but I never, ever grew up there. So my parents left when I was about less than a year old. And I'm like, I'm going to Eastern New Mexico University to know my place of birth. And I know there's a university there, and they have a reputable business school, not as many others that we know, but I looked at the syllabus, the program, the background of the professors. I applied, got accepted, saw basically I had two objectives in one. I visited my birth town that I'd never been there before after 29, 30 years. And also I got my MBA, which helped tremendously, not only in my new business and business endeavors, but also through my PhD program, which followed that MBA, and through everyday activity today, and the writing aspect, the way that opens the visions, opens the view on business industry in general. So the main two was getting an MBA because I did have a business before and I want to learn more in the details of the business. Second was my birth town, but after I got the MBA, I also saw the benefit of it.
Wow. That's pretty good. And, I always say the best answers on Director's Cut are the ones you didn't expect. And that I didn't expect that. So we have to ask a quick follow-up here. What was the most exciting thing about your birthplace, about the town you came into the world in?
I would say nothing, but at the same time, everything. And the answer is like that because before I go visit Portales, New Mexico, I lived in major cities, cities where they have public transportations or major highways, but when you go from that background to the very small town with 1,200 people and whatever was the 3,000, 4,000 students, is a big, big, big shock, to the point that you think that even a town like that would have a public transportation. There's taxis. This is the time that there was no Uber, no Lyft. Where's the taxi? Where's the closest airport? Where is the? And that was the one thing that I got. It was a shocking for me, but at the same time made me understand the rural, hardworking towns in the U.S., the farmers and the blue-collar workers who wake up very early and they earn very hard through the process. That was something that I got to feel and see it up close. And that was very, very educational, emotional, and at the same time experience for me when I was in Portales, New Mexico. They have a bunker. It shocked me because they had a bunker. This is in New Mexico. So in their courthouse, they have a nuclear bunker. They still have the sign on it. I think this was during the Cold War. And who would bomb Portales? I don't know. But they had a bunker in there that you would go and close the door. And now it was all the courthouse offices in there. That was another interesting.
That's amazing.
Aspect. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I want to have an office that I can refer to as the bunker, but I don't actually want it to be a bunker, I think.
Yes.
So we're going to do a little compare and contrast here. Mm-hmm. We're going to go from talking about a small town and a small school. But first of all, part of the reason for this question that's coming up, can you tell everybody where you got your PhD, Rozbeh?
At Texas Tech University. Go Raiders.
Texas Tech University, former home of Patrick Mahomes. You are now teaching at UT Austin.
Yes.
The University of Texas at Austin. So
very humbled.
I came up with this question from two viewpoints. Has teaching at UT changed your perceptions of the school? First of all, it was just because you're a Raider, and I wanted to know if you had harbored any animosity from those days that you spent on that campus in West Texas. And the second question, because I think sometimes from outside, especially when you're in practice, you see these massive academic institutions cranking out hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of dollars a year in research. And you develop some stereotypes about them that, maybe they're not that connected with the real world, or, I mean, I think that's the biggie, right? So has teaching at UT changed your perceptions of the school?
If I understand the question, related to research only or in general the school?
You can go anywhere with it. This is director's cut, man. There are no rules.
Okay, perfect. So no, I always have had this interest in teaching, and I truly enjoy sharing experience, case studies, and the true engineering practice with the students. I've been teaching since 2006, 2007. Every place I've been, I always try to have one course and keep the academic work going. When I got involved with UT Austin through Dr. Zorenberg, he invited me very nicely, and I was so excited and so humbled that teach one class. I was so excited because I couldn't just ask for anything else. I wanted to teach, in what place better than UT Austin? And I do take the 3-day commute, hour, 20 minutes from San Antonio to Austin, and I teach that class. And now I understand, after 5-6 years now, maybe actually more than that, but now I understand why this infrastructure of research and infrastructure, truly what they do is the basic of what we practice out there. There is this, as you mentioned, there is this notion, or there is this perception that there is very academic papers and very practice-oriented papers, and to a certain extent, sometimes they don't agree with the results because one of them says this is what happened in the field, in reality, the performance of the structure, and then this is at a very small scale, very in detail. But both combined is what it makes all this civil engineering, deep foundations, marvels that happen possible. It's not just one or another, it's just combined, go hand to hand. And the UT system in general, they've done a good job of bringing true expert professors, bringing them all together, do multidisciplinary research, transportation combined with psychology, mathematics combined with rocket science, to the point that the outcome benefits and contributes to the society in general. And I think this is not only at UT Austin. I have seen it in other universities, but right now I've been the most teaching consecutively at UT. And my perception is it's amazing what they do here. Either the professors, the administrators, they put a really solid program together. And I see it in the classroom with the students. I sometimes talk to them asking about the opportunities they have. And it's truly amazing what this system has to offer to the students.
I like that answer a lot. But you did miss one thing, and we have to do this. And this is just for Ellen Rathje and Steve Kramer. I've heard, and you get to complete the sentence, that what starts there
changes the world.
Yeah. That's for you, Ellen and Steve. Yes. That's perfect.
And Brad, fantastic. I have to add to it, at the E04 engineering research building, there is a set of stairs that it goes up, and the very first stair says innovation starts here. And I think they are very true with that. They've done a great job.
That is perfect. I love that. This next question was in here kind of accidentally, and now I love that it's here, because you grew up all over the world. You moved around a lot.
Yes.
And after I heard that, I thought you were going to give some exotic, crazy answer to this question, and yet it's not, which I also love, because it just shows that kids are kind of the same no matter where they are, right? What game did you play most frequently as a kid?
Oh, Indians and Cowboys. And there was a reason for it. And my dad, when we were young, and in general, my dad is still retired, at 80 something years old, he's still very fan of John Wayne movies and very Western driven. So we would watch some episodes or some of parts of a movie with him, and we would ask him, I want to have an arrow and a revolver and a silver revolver, and I want the sheriff's star. And he would do the best to get it for us. And my brother and I always played interchangeably. You know, I was the Indian cowboy Indian, and we had no limits, and they would let us go outside with our toys and play and run around. And then we had two sisters that they joined us. That was in Spain, and we transitioned a little bit from just running around from each other. We start playing a little bit more of a group, more than two people activity. It was just first me and my brother, then it was my sisters, then it was my friends in Spain. So we played baseball, we played peonza. Most people know peonza, but is the one that you wrap the little string around it, and then you throw it in the ground, then you can lift it with your hand. And anyways, it was interesting. We learned it in Spain, so we'll play peonza. But mainly, if I have to bring my childhood memories, I would say Cowboy Indian is number one, because we had all sort of gear to run around.
Which I have to follow up with you on, because you grew up in a diplomatic family, in a household, you're moving around the world. You lived in the diplomatic compounds, I presume, at some point. So you're attached to the embassy, or at least in the diplomatic housing. You never had any issues playing around with fake weapons in these places? I guess it was the 80s and 90s. Times were different, but
it was much different. And I don't remember having any problems at that moment. But at the same time, my dad had a very strict education point of view. I'm very strict about manners. So he would never let us take advantage of the fact that he was a diplomat. And he always told us, he put us in public school. We never went to a super duper fancy school because we were diplomats. And he made sure that we understand the difference between this is your dad's job, doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go. But with fake guns and all that, no, we were perfectly fine. We had that orange little thing on the barrel, and then the plastic little end of the arrow, so it was good. We were having a lot of fun.
I love that. We mentioned at the top, this is kind of a big deal. You are the winner of the 2026 Kapp Foundation Engineering Award, named, of course, for Martin Kapp, who was the chief engineer at the Port Authority in the late 60s and early 70s, and passed away tragically playing golf in 1972. But one of the ways we honor his legacy is with this award that we give out every year. Rozbeh, how does it feel to be the 2026 Kapp Award winner? Describe all the feelings you have about this.
Oh, okay. So I have a lot of feelings. Not now that you ask, it's when he was announced. So I was the feelings are like, gratitude and mostly honored, humbled, and, just the fact that my name being among those that I consider mentors. And I one time looked at that, award event and said, wow, I learned so much from this person. One of them being Mr. Van Kamerka, my mentor, and he got awarded with Kapp 3-4 years ago, I believe. Just having my name among those is just humbling. And I cannot describe it with many words, but I could say I'm very, very, very honored, humbled, and really, really thanking ASCE for considering, and the professional individuals, both on the academic and on the practice side, that they have really supported me. Dr. Lemnitzer, Dr. Rathje, Dr. Zornberg, Dr. Gilbert, They all supported me through the professor of practice. They have worked with me and they supported me through the career. Van Kamerka, Frank Rauscher, Pat Hannigan, all of them were people who truly shared their experiences with me, and I learned from them. Bill Lawson, Ho Young Song, Dr. J, Priyanta Jayavikrama, Dr. Lawson, Dr. Ho Young Song, they were my PhD advisors, and I learned so much from them. If I just look back from the beginning of my career with Alex Hockman, Alfredo Budik, Muhammad Hussein, Bengt Planius, all the way to now, I have a list of people to be thankful because I learned from them, and that education, I just applied it, and I applied it, and I applied it. And when the announcement was made, I was truly humbled. Like it was very, very humbling for me.
That's just, I mean, any answer would have been amazing there. I always say there are no right or wrong answers on Director's Cut, but that was the right answer. We don't often do a second pitch to our viewers, but after hearing that, I think we have to say how important it is to nominate colleagues for these awards. I mean, everybody out there watching, imagine if you heard one of your friends say that about winning one of our ASCE or GI awards. We're thrilled that you're so honored to be receiving it, Rozbeh, and we're
Yes.
thrilled that you're receiving the award, of course. We'll have the awards, video, ceremony, photos, all that good stuff at Geo-Congress 2026 in Salt Lake City in March. So a huge congratulations from everybody in the community. And
Thank you.
I mean, that's question number 10. You survived Director's Cut, which I always say everybody makes it through, but it's still an accomplishment. For the viewers, if you liked what you saw, and you probably did because you're here at the end, you should click like, subscribe, get notifications, and in case you forgot, since I said this at the beginning of the show, if you do those things, we'll send you some kind of contact. Maybe we ding you, you get an email, something every time we post something to the YouTube channel. Rozbeh, thank you so much for doing this. I hope it was a good
Brad.
time.
Always good talking to you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks again for coming on. And we will see everybody in just 7 days with another brand new episode of Director's Cut.